Hi, my name is John. I'm a naval officer. I work up at Point Magoo.
And I'm Rachelle, and I am an attorney in Camarillo.
And our story begins around the summer of 2008. Rachelle and I were living in Guam, and we were headed back. We were both working at the time, making pretty good money, and we didn't really have a whole lot of financial understanding other than got to make money and spend it. So based on conventional wisdom, we decided, hey, it was time to buy a house, buy a couple of cars, and oh, by the way, Rachelle also had about $100,000 of student loans that we had yet to pay off. And after we moved to Virginia, all these loans started coming due, and it was also the fall of 2008, and everybody kind of knows what happened then. So Rachelle had a hard time finding work, and so we were trying to pay all our debts basically on one income, and we realized that things were not going so well. Because I started looking at our monthly income. I didn't really have a budget at the time, but I kind of looked, I was like, man, we're upside down every month. We can't even meet our bills. And we didn't know when Rachelle was going to find work. So I started getting worried. The weight of the financial pressure started kind of descending on our shoulders, and it became kind of overwhelming.
We had to sell one of the cars and together just have one car. We also really kept to a strict budget and had little wiggle room for anything extra like dates or activities with work. We just really cut back and put our focus on paying down debt.
We really learned how to be frugal, how to stretch a dollar, and really try to apply the principles that are in God's Word about saving, tithing, and honoring Him with our finances instead of just trying to honor ourselves.
We started to see God answering our prayers. And it had been a long 2, almost 3 years of us just crying out, struggling and wondering when our financial situation would get better.
Yeah, so a little over a year ago, her student loans were over $100,000, and yeah, in December they'll be gone. And that was all because of God's provision and our decision to really make it a priority to become debt-free and not be burdened by that. You know, there were a lot of lessons that we learned, but I think some of I'd say the top 3. Number 1 is that God's Word is true. I mean, if you honor His principles, you tithe the way that He wants you to. It's not about your money, really. It's about your heart. And when you honor Him with the tithe, He promises to bless. And when we were doing that faithfully, even though it took a while, God never let us down once. And it was huge. I mean, and it brought us a lot of financial peace.
And it really strengthened our marriage as well.
Mm-hmm.
And our commitment to trusting God and His Word.
Our personal finances are really a spiritual battleground. A lot of times we don't think of it that way. We think of it more as like, hey, money is very concrete, it's very of this world. But I can tell you firsthand that when I was focused and I just felt that weight of debt on my shoulders, it's hard to focus outward. Mm-hmm. You're always focused inward, trying to figure out how you're going to get out of it. My prayers tended to focus primarily on God helping us out instead of us helping others. So if you get trapped into a big debt or maybe even too much money or whatever it may be, if your focus is taken off of God and now placed on money for whatever reason, the enemy kind of has you in a good spot because now you're not able to give your full attention to God. So it's important to remember that.
And I think lastly, we've just really learned how awesome it is to bless other people. We did tithe consistently even when we were in a financial hardship, but as we were coming out of it more so, we started giving extra and putting money towards missions, or for example the Thanksgiving bags that we're doing for church, things like that. And really they've just been able to be more of a blessing to us probably than sometimes it is a blessing to others to be able to do that and know that that is a way of life for us now, and we've committed that to God.
If your financial house isn't in order, if you're not following God's principles, you won't be ready to bless others when those opportunities come up, because you don't know when they're going to happen. But God has given us principles day to day that we can follow so that when He has something for us, then you're ready. And I think that's a huge part of bringing us financial peace, is being able to obey God when those opportunities come up. It may not be a lot, it could be a little, but it's more about obedience and not the amount.
I wanna